The trailblazing presenter became the first female DJ on the station in 1970, launching the careers of dozens of unknown artists. Her family paid tribute, saying Annie passed away at her home in London yesterday after a short illness. They added, "Annie was a pioneer, trailblazer, and an inspiration to many." Her impulse to share that enthusiasm with audiences remained undimmed after 6 decades of broadcasting on BBC TV and radio globally. Never underestimate the role model she became, breaking down doors by refusing to bow down to sexual prejudice and male fear gave encouragement to generations of young women who, like Annie, only wanted to tell you about an amazing tune they had just heard. Watching Annie do this on television in the 1970s, most famously as a presenter on the BBC music show The Old Grey Whistle Test, or hearing her play the latest breakbeat techno on Radio 1 is testimony to someone who never stopped believing in the magic of rock and roll. A celebration of Annie's life will take place at a memorial service in the spring, the family added. Annie, who has 2 children, was born in Osterley, Middlesex, and began her career as a journalist for the BBC and ITV. After joining the Brighton Evening Argus as a general news reporter, she switched to interviewing celebs as the paper's first music columnist. Annie later presented a pop culture show, That's For Me, on the BBC, which featured on showcasing unheard-of musicians. She also co-hosted the music series, Sing a Song of Sixpence, and put out her own chain of fashion boutiques called Snob. In 1970, she became the first female presenter on BBC Radio 1, specializing in supporting underground music. Annie was the station's longest-serving broadcaster and held the Guinness World Record for the longest career as a female radio presenter. She helped launch the careers of many artists, including Talking Heads, Susie and the Banshees, The Clash and the Ramones. She previously spoke out about her role, saying she feared the BBC wanted her to fail. Annie added, "I felt the technical guys were waiting for me to fail, too. I felt very much like a woman driver." The DJ proved her doubters wrong, though, paving the way for other female broadcasters, including Annie Mac, Zoe Ball and Jo Wiley. Away from Radio 1, Annie presented The Old Grey Whistle Test. In 2020, she was made an CBE for her services to radio broadcasting and also became the first female DJ from Radio 1 to be inducted into the Radio Academy Hall of Fame. Annie shared 2 children, Alex and Lucy, with her first husband, Gordon Thomas. She was also married to actor Binky Baker, but the pair later divorced. Tributes have flooded in for the tragic DJ, led by fellow presenter Trevor Nelson. He said, "Dear Annie, you were more than just a trailblazer for women on radio, you made me feel like music broadcasting is for life. Rave in peace." The head of BBC Radio 1, Aled Hayden-Jones, said, "All of us at Radio 1 are devastated to lose Annie, are thou?" Annie was a world-class DJ, broadcaster, and journalist, and throughout her entire career was a champion of new music and new artists. She was the first female DJ on Radio 1 and over her 50 years on the station was a pioneer for women in the industry and in dance music. "We have lost a broadcasting legend and, thanks to Annie, things will never be the same." While Danny Howard, host of Radio 1's Dance Party, wrote, "Very sad to hear the news of Annie Nightingale passing. I was in awe of her knowledge and passion for music, the way she talked about it and the stories she had. Such a kind soul and will be missed. Thank you, Annie. R.I.P.